Hello and welcome to Sport Tonight. I'm Cecilia Mogbe in Lagos.
Wherever you are joining us in London, I'm Austin Okonakpan.
All right, it's a loaded package tonight. Yes, the Basketball African League will also get our attention tonight. Remember what we did on Tuesday, focusing on Rivers Hoopers, what has changed for them, especially having a 3-game run, not losing anyone. But hey, they lost on Thursday night. We'll be talking about them, and Mohamed Abdullahi will be joining us from Dakar, Senegal, to tell us more about the Sahara Conference. Who will nick the playoff? Because right now, none of the teams have actually nicked a spot in the playoffs, because Rivers Hoopers' unbeaten run was ended by the host nation. We'll also be touching down on the Premier League. Focus, of course, is on Manchester United and Arsenal. Usually, this could have been like, let's say, title decider, but it's not looking like that because Man United, of course, is on the table. So it's between City and Arsenal. Yes, English Premier League getting our attention tonight. Yes, school sports. School sports, for the first time in the history of school sports in Nigeria, will be having pupils from the school to represent Nigeria at the World School Sports taking place in Nairobi, Kenya, cross-country competition. We'll talk about that on the program. And also, Amputee Eagles, remember what we've been saying, they need funds. And so, Segun Odegbami is leading that charge for them. They unveiled their kit. Remember the championship taking place in Egypt, and of course, they're still soliciting for sponsors. But what they've done to unveil their kit will tell you that yes, these amputees, especially goes, they are ready for the tournament. These are many more on the show tonight. And of course, well, we are not alone on the program. We've got It's a Friday, and we've got Okpeyemi Akiode right on the show tonight.
Well, I feel good to be here, and it's another Friday night to talk sports. We're looking forward to a big weekend, and a weekend that is going to decide a whole lot, especially in the English Premier League. The La Liga is done and dusted. The German Bundesliga has gone to a new champion, Bayer Leverkusen, for the first time in over 100 years. The French Ligue 1 is also gone. Of course, Inter Milan doing the express delivery of the Italian Serie A. So we're looking forward to the English Premier League. Manchester City play away at Craven Cottage, early kickoff tomorrow. Of course, Arsenal, late one there at Old Trafford against Manchester United, a place they've not had some real good result, but let's see how it goes. So there's so much you're looking forward to at this weekend in the world of sports.
So much we're looking forward to. Austin, of course, you're going to be starting with basketball. Basketball African League. Yes, we'll be singing the praises of Rivers Hoopers, but it's hard for you to go 6 games unbeaten. Yes, they had 3, but now the second run has started against AS Douanes. They lost by 2. It was a 2-point game. I mean, a narrow defeat, and it was so agonizing for them, especially what the coach was saying after that loss to, you know, we talked about the fact that if you beat a home team once, it's hard for you to beat them again. And of course, they have to come back fighting. Rivers Hoopers fought, I mean, trying to reduce the lead, but it just wasn't to be for them in that one.
Yeah, it wasn't. You know, Cecilia, we talked about this 2 days ago on the show with Queen, and we were so confident that they would keep it going. But then again, we also know that AS Douanes, they are in, you know, serious need to, you know, get some relevance on that Sahara Conference table. And for them being hosts, they needed to show working. So in that game against Rivers Hoopers, they needed to, you know, go all out to get the win. But shout out to Rivers Hoopers and the tenacity that they showed. You know, they've shown again that they can actually go all the way. The playoffs is the target. And, you know, the way they lost it, you could tell that that wasn't in the plan. But I think the team that really needed the win got it. And despite the loss, Rivers Hoopers, they're still, you know, topping that table, which is important. And when Mohamed Abdullahi joins us, he will re-echo some of the things we're talking behind the scenes, because I'm saying to him that I'm confident that they will go all the way to the playoffs. Let's bring in Mohamed Abdullahi. Cecilia, if you're ready for that conversation. Is right there in Dakar, Senegal. Mohamed, good to have you join us on Sports Tonight.
Good evening, Nigerians. It's my pleasure.
Yeah. Awesome. Just like Cecilia said, tough defeat for Rivers Hoopers, but with what I saw in that game against AS Douanes, no hope is lost.
Yeah, definitely. In fact, to very many people, they've actually surpassed people's expectation by winning the first three games. Very tough ones, if you allow me say. And it's also important to note that yes, they are still topping the log, despite the loss yesterday, which was a very narrow one. You understand that the game was a very low scoring game, 56 to 54, because it's the second round of games. And definitely fatigue is setting in, tiredness is there, playing these tough games. I mean, about four games now in just less than 6 days. It's not easy. But you give it to the River Supers guys, they've really done well this time around. Hopefully, we are very hopeful that they will get to the playoffs and final in Kigali later this month.
Yeah, well, some names have been outstanding. Will Perry gets in the conversation. There's also Amayo in that mix. There's Divine AK. But if you take out these names and their performance, has it been proper team effort from Rivers Hoopers?
I think I would say it's been a proper team effort. There's been cohesion in the team. There's been more organization and more of understanding in the team. When I spoke to Coach Ogo Odaudu sometimes ago, he mentioned that they were part of the BAL inaugural season in 2021, and they came in just blindly without really understanding what the league was all about and even the teams that were participating, and so they didn't do really well. But this time around, he mentioned that they prepared so well, definitely with the help of the River State government. That's why they have more experienced players like Will Perry, like you mentioned, an American who came all the way to Nigeria. He's been here. He's been in Nigeria for almost a month trying to acclimatize and get to know his other teammates. So this has really helped well the team in performing exploits in the court. So I would say, yes, aside those three players you mentioned, Will Perry, Kevin Amayo, and then Divine AK definitely seems to be the leaders of the team. But all other team players also have contributed to what we see so far.
Yeah, hand you over to Cecilia now. Cecilia, it was a difficult game against AS Douanes, but after watching that game, did you have your hands on your cheeks?
Yeah, of course, it was hard, really. I mean, as you mentioned, a low-scoring game. For you to have a Peter Olisamaka proved to be, I mean, the icing on the cake, so to speak, because he was the shining light. He had a double-double in that game, 16 points, a game high of 18 rebounds. And one thing that stood out for Rivers Hoopers on the night was 20 turnovers. I mean, that's not what you do if you really want to win a game. I think that 20 turnovers was really what got me. Mohamed, I'll come to you on this one. I mean, the shooting accuracy on the night was about 27%. That was really poor. I mean, you mentioned it was a low-scoring game. Maybe that also contributed. But from the three-point range, it was 6 out of 32. So out of 32, they converted just 6 three-pointers, and that's what Rivers Hoopers are not known for. What can they do differently? Now they've lost this one. If you check all the teams that have played so far, I mean, none of them are in a pole position for the playoffs in Kigali. In Kigali, so that shows that Rivers Hoopers needs to win their next game to stand a chance of actually getting that playoff ticket, judging from the way they started.
Yeah, I think from the defense, the team has been really exceptional. But like you rightly mentioned, the biggest problem I think the team is facing is accurate shooting. It's been a bit, I don't want to use the word awful, but it's been a bit below par. Some shootings are really not really professional, seriously. So I think even the coach admitted this is one area the team needs to really work on. Yes, perhaps maybe fatigue, like I mentioned earlier. It's really not easy. It is a very physical game. Again, you also have to understand that it's not easy to beat the host team.
Twice.
Dakar Arena was packed full. The 10,000 capacity was packed full with Senegalese beating, electrifying drums, and so on and so forth. So it wasn't easy at all. And for the fact that they lost just by the final second. In fact, that shot beat the buzzer. You understand? To go in. I think we need to give them credit, but still they need to improve on their shootings going forward.
Yeah, 27% accuracy from the field is really poor. And another one that, I mean, when they're going to play against Rwanda champions, and that's their next game on Saturday, before, of course, our US Monastir champions, Tunisia champions. What can they do differently to get these two games?
Yes, it's going to be a very challenging one because if you realize APR of Rwanda, even though they are debutants in this competition, they've also been very outstanding. You know, they've won 2 games so far. As Douanes have also got 2 games in the bag, and then US Monastir has got 1. The thing is, the APR, the Rwandan team, they are a never say die team. You understand? You know, in fact, we won by just 4 points in our first meeting. You understand? And it was keenly contested. So I'm expecting a keenly contested game as well. If the most tenacious team will carry the day seriously. And I want to believe Rivers Hoopers have learned their lesson by what happened last night against us, Douanes. They will make sure that they fight really to the end in order to get a win.
Yeah, overall, I mean, if you look at the 6 teams we have, the 3 teams we have, which of them do you think can actually make the playoffs? I mean, just put on your thinking cap, or maybe, I don't know, crystal ball and look into the future, the one that will be in Kigali in the playoffs.
Patriotically, I would say Rivers Hoopers.
Okay.
Yeah, patriotic. Yeah, you know, being very patriotic. Definitely Rivers Hoopers I will pick. I think they should make one of the 2 automatic tickets. But also remember that there is a best loser ticket that is also very possible from this conference, from this Sahara conference. I mean, the 3rd best place might also be able to make it to the playoffs and finals in Kigali. So it's I think the chances are very, very, very high, probability-wise, that Rivers Hoopers will be there at the end of the day in Kigali.
That's history in the making there. I don't know if Austin got some questions for you before I let you go. Austin?
Just one before we go. Up next for Rivers Hoopers, I think is US Monastir. They won that first one, which was shocking for us. Do you think Rivers Hoopers can do it again?
The next game for Rivers Hoopers is actually APR, but US Monastir game was actually the easiest game they've had so far. In fact, and that gives the Nigerian team an advantage because they won convincingly against US Monastir with more than about 21 points. So in fact, even if there will be a point difference, that might really help them because all other teams have just been winning with less than 10 points. You know, so I think yes, the second round of game might not be very easy for them. But with that score line, I mean, that points difference, they might end up carrying the day in terms of a head-to-head.
We want to say thank you so much for your time on the show tonight, Mohammed. All the best to the team out there. If you have an opportunity, let them know we're rooting for them back home in Nigeria. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
So that's it. Basketball analyst Mohammed Abdullah speaking to us from Dakar, Senegal. Cecilia, I don't know if Okoyemi Akinyode has been, champing at the bit to jump on the conversation. We didn't expect so much from these, but we're glad Rivers Hoopers are giving us beautiful things to talk about the BAL.
Yes, I think they did themselves a whole world of good by winning their first 3 games. And if you look at the balance right now, even though the Sahara Conference standing is still evenly poised, 3 wins, 2 wins, 2 wins, 1 win. But I don't know. It's just a bit complex. Now, the luck that Rivers Hoopers would have with us, they play US Monastir again. And that was a team they beat emphatically. So I'm sure they want to go into that. And Mohammed Abdullah just talked about the 3rd best placed team in this one. So I'm sure the Rivers Hoopers are also feeling like, hey, we've given Nigerians something to be excited about. See, I'm going to hold up at this point. I didn't even think they were going to have maybe more than a win. But they've done 3 for themselves. As it is now, they've got 75 winning percentage. They've got 32 in football, it's goals difference. But in basketball, it's point difference in terms of the number of win margin they've had over the other team. So I think they just take their time. Tomorrow is going to be very key for them. If they play against APR, and then if they're able to get a win in that one, they know that whatever happens against US Monastir is win or bust, they'll still go through. But for now, the target should be the 2 automatic ticket from the Sahara Conference. And if they're able to get that, it's going to be the very first time. And hey, you don't know how far they will go from here.
It's in the making for them. And APR actually lost to U.S. Monastir when they recorded their first victory. Also, that happened on Thursday. Now, just to put you into perspective of what we've been talking about the results of what happened, and of course, the games that Rivers Hoopers, how they're going to play their remaining games. Now, they lost to AS Douanes 54-56, 2-point game. And Rivers Hoopers will be facing APR of Rwanda on Saturday, and their final group game will be against US Monastir. US Monastir, of course, recorded their first victory against the Rwandan champions. So that's what it's looking like. So US Monastir already won one game, APR winning one, and of course, AS winning one. But Rivers Hoopers have won 3 games in all. They're still in the pole position. Now, for Hoopers, the GP is 4 points. The win 3, the loss just 1, and of course, goal difference of 32, and of course, 75%. You have APR second, AS, of course, US Monastir, by virtue of the fact that they won just 1 game, and of course, the numbers of points right here, 21 against Rivers Hoopers. That's where you have Sahara Conference the standing. So Rivers Hoopers still in pole position to get that playoff ticket in Kigali. All right, we'll leave basketball now and talk about school sports. Yes, that is getting our attention. I know that Austin love anything that has to do with school sports. And so we have these kids that will be going to Nairobi, Kenya for the World School Cross Country Championship. And of course, started today, 10th, and it's going to end on the 14th in Kenya, Nairobi. And of course, for this particular, you have 460 athletes to be competing, 460 athletes, 5 continents, 22 countries, including Nigeria, making a debut with will compete at that International School Sports Federation World School Cross Country Championship. 7-man contingent, 4 boys and 3 girls representing Nigeria. And what the Nigerian School Sports Federation did was to organize a cross-country championships in Kaduna in March. And you have winners in the under 17, under 15, and under 18. That's how these kids were selected. And of course, you know who, I love what Olabisi Joseph has been doing, with the School Sports Federation. Since she came on board, they've been having this, just wanting it to be active. We know that School Sports Federation is active. The first time Africa is hosting it, Nigeria is also participating for the very first time. An event like this, what does it do for the kids competing at international level at a young age?
Cecilia, everything.
Yeah.
It does absolutely everything for them. When I heard about the qualifiers they had in Kaduna in March, I was super excited. And then, there's nothing as exciting as exposing these kids to the international stage at this young age. It gives them that balance. It gives them that confidence going forward. And I think the bigger win for it in all of this is that now we're beginning to understand that we'll not have those superstars at the top level forever.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Austin. I've seen how much over the years Austin had paid so much attention to grassroots sports, secondary school games, the whole catch them young thing. And sometimes when you look at how much we've had all of these elite athletes at the top level, you're wondering that who is going to come through. I've literally watched Aruna almost all my life. It's almost like the only male tennis player. Of course, there are a lot of other people are coming through, but it's a massive, massive opportunity for them. They go out there, they compete with the other kids around the world from across the continent. They get that international exposure. They come back and they feel like this is no longer just something I feel like it's an hobby now. It's a trade, it's a lifestyle, it's something I want to do. And beyond the exposure, it shows that we're beginning to pay attention to what happens at the grassroots. And the moment we are interested in catching them young, grooming them, letting them understand that there are rules to this thing. There's something about consistency. And at the end of the day, Cecilia, we need to find a way to sell something to the private sector. The government is not going to do all of these things alone. You have a product, you have something to sell to the corporate award, they would certainly come into this one. So for the kids, it's a win-win for them.
All right, we need to go on a break. When we come back, Austin will jump into this conversation before we listen to those responsible for these great epoch-making events. Yes, it's the first time that Nigeria will be taking part in school sports federations globally.
It's another opportunity for us to give our school boys and girls the exposure, the opportunity to showcase their talent on a global level. Like I said before, we came into office for 15 years. Nigeria had not had the opportunity of giving these schoolboys and girls the opportunity. We started in 2022, and every year we have created opportunities for our schoolboys and girls. In 2022, we went with athletics and we got a gold. And last year, we went with our basketball. We had one of the MVPs, as a Nigerian. One of our boys was one of the MVPs. And then the boys and girls team didn't do badly in Serbia. That team was led by Excellency, the First Lady of Bayelsa State. So let me use this opportunity to say thank you to Bayelsa State. And this time around, I'm saying thank you to His Excellency Barrister Caleb Manasseh of Plateau State for his support, for seeing it so important to ensure that these boys and girls from Plateau State are given the opportunity to represent Nigeria. And they were not just handpicked. They are winners from the national school cross-country competition that was held in Kaduna. So I also want to say thank you to the Kaduna State government for giving us the opportunity to stage the national championship. And this wouldn't have been possible without the support of the new Honorable Minister for Sports and then the Honorable Minister for Education. I want to thank the Honorable Minister for Sports, especially for his unwavering support for grassroots sports, especially school sport. He's not been tired of us. And I want to say that the opportunity that has been given to these kids, they are not taking it for granted. They've been training tirelessly, and we expect that we're going with hopes and dreams of the nation. And we believe that once again, we will come back with laurels and they will be celebrated.
With the performance of these students, I want to urge all our students, schools in the state, to make sports a very veritable tool in the activities of the school, be that so that the much talk about curriculum development in sports will be realized, and in the long run we get more students participating, and in the long run we have students that are talented in sports to develop and eventually bring up talents that would represent Nigeria, Plateau State in general.
Yeah, interesting coming from the president of Nigeria School Sports Federation, Olabisi Joseph, and also Plateau State Commissioner for Education, Mohammed Yalom, talking what these athletes will do when they get to Nairobi, Kenya. They left the country yesterday. Of course, the tournament started. It's going to end May 14th. Austin, I know you want to chip into this one. Having Nigeria competing at the World School Cross Country Championships for the first time.
Massive international exposure for those young talents, under 12, under 15, under 18. That's the way to go. I keep saying it, while we're looking at ways that we can find solutions at the top, we're wasting our time. Go back to the schools. That's the basic. That's the foundation. Go and correct whatever mistake you have done in the past right there at the schools. Go and put cost to the risk you need to take. Invest in a child that is just 10, and in 10 years' time, that child would have been actively involved in sports and will just be 20 years old. That's the way to go. Shout out to Olabisi Joseph and her team. I really wish I was back home in Nigeria. She knows I'll be jumping at this sort of, conversations and trying to see how we can get those names out there. But good job we are doing, letting people know that these kids aren't just going to travel to Nairobi, Kenya, to represent Nigeria. They will come back with viable life lessons, valuable ones. Social cohesion is in there. National unity, that's national competition that they did, Cecilia, bringing young kids from different parts of the country to come together and play for the love of the game, and teaching them how to bond, understand team spirit. And in our world of sports, we say when you mix education and sports, you're just talent, you're a star. When you mix it with sports and education, you become a superstar. And that's what the Nigeria School Sports Federation is doing with all of these programs and initiative. And I just want to tell them, let's keep it going. I know we still lack proper systems.
Yeah.
I know the structures aren't in there, but the little we are doing for the future generations, let's keep it going, and someday we might just get it right.
We might just get it right. That's what we're hoping. Someday we'll do that. Now, let's talk about the Special Eagles tonight. Yes, this is a project that's currently going on, a campaign to raise funds for the Special Eagles ahead of the 2024 African Amputee Football Cup of Nations in Egypt. That's going to start May 18. And it ends May 30th. So it's this month. And all you have to do to support the Special Eagles, just get any of their merchandise. I mean, that's what they're doing because they feel the best way they can do that, Raise an Eagle, is a project. They want to diversify the means of supporting the physically challenged athletes. And that's why they're doing this. Now, they did this project on Thursday. And, I mean, who else would be their biggest supporter? He was in Côte d'Ivoire to support the Super Eagles of Nigeria all through the Nations Cup and even rooting for them. Remember how Super Eagles also came up with their own campaign? I mean, let's do it again. The jersey was selling everywhere. So this is what the Special Eagles are also trying to do. And Segun Odegbami, I mean, he was there to actually inspire these athletes, these players, to see what they can do. I mean, what he's telling them, encouraging them that they can do so much more. And there are ways you can be a part of it. It's not just for the players alone, not just for those involved in it, organizing the football tournament. Talking about the president, Paul Maduako, is about the whole of Nigeria. So if you want to raise an eagle, just see what you can do for this team. They're preparing to leave for Egypt for the African Amputee Football Cup of Nations. I mean, this is something, I mean, when you look at it, you just love, I mean, how they decided to come up with something like this. I mean, they feel there's so much to do, but how do you now raise the funds? You have to create a product. We always talk about that, and they've created that. It's now left for Nigerians to key in and support them through this merchandise that they raise.
Yeah, I think it's a big development, and the fact that they have a face to it, which is, of course, the mathematical Segun Odegbami, obviously it's going to attract a lot of people into it, and you know, the corporate relevance of Segun Odegbami would also rub off on the Amputee Eagle as well. And they've been through a lot. Remember when they wanted to go for a World Cup a couple of years back, and then they were all cramped up in a bus to go to Abuja for their visa. They had accidents, and it's just been a mix of a lot of things. You look at their physical condition, and I love their spirits. They will tell you that don't pity us, support us. Don't look down on us, encourage us, push us to go further. And the last couple of Olympics specifically have shown that even what in quotes the able-bodied athletes cannot do, the physically challenged, the Paralympians have been able to bring us medals, gold in weightlifting. So it's an avenue for us to look at the fact that, yes, we have the Super Eagles, we have the Sand Eagles, we have the A-grade Eagles, but we also have the Amputee Eagles that can go out there and get the job done. If they're able to get something good for themselves at the Amputee African Cup of Nations in Egypt that will start this month of May. And I feel really bad. The fact that this is even when this campaign is starting. Do you know how long the Let's Do It Again for the Super Eagles started? Months before, even before the draws of the AFCON was made, we started seeing, you know, clothes and brandings, you know, for the let's show these people the same level of support. They are already physically challenged, and that is not a way to look down on them. These individuals are. Cecilia, I've been at the stadium several in Surulere. I've seen how our athletes, our weightlifters, I've seen how they struggle to stay. Some of them, their wheelchairs are just welded together. But these ones have said, hey, we want to represent Nigeria in Egypt. Give us the support. Buy our merchandise, buy our jerseys, buy our mufflers. Give us this love, and let's see how we can make the country proud.
Yeah, it's looking like it. Austin, I know you want to chip in on this one. What the Amputee Eagles are doing and supported by Segun Odegbami.
Shout out to the mathematical Segun Odegbami, a legend, absolute legend. And this is the way to let people feel your impact. You know, for those who don't know Segun Odegbami, he was a member of the 1980 Green Eagle squad, the squad that gave Nigeria the first Cup of Nations title right there in Lagos. And Segun Odegbami has been so impactful. If you tell me off my head to mention 3 ex-international who have been so impactful in any way you can think about it. Segun Odegbami will be in that conversation. And what a way to come out to support the amputee Eagles. We know what they've been through. And I always say it to sports administrators in Nigeria. If you do 5 for able-bodied athletes, you must do 50 for these special athletes, because they tell us a beautiful story. When they go out there to represent the country, they just don't go and represent. They're telling an inspiring story, a motivational story. They're telling people when you are down, you are not out. You see sometimes confined to wheelchairs. Some of them, they don't even have arms, they don't have legs, but they brave the odds. They go out there to still be useful to not just their society, but to the country, and that's laudable. And I joined Segun Odegbami tonight to call for more support for the amputee Eagles. They were so close in 2019. They got to the final, but lost to the host, Angola, and now they're getting ready to go to Egypt. We must support them. Just don't dance with them. Don't pity them, as they always mention. Support us, So I pray that they go to the competition and they come back, and particularly let us call on the Ministry of Sports Development. I'm glad we have a minister that wants to listen, that wants to do things differently. Honorable Minister, this is a good way to, make an impact. Support these guys and let them continue to tell us special and beautiful stories.
Mathematical himself.
They reflect Nigeria. You see, the Nigeria of our dreams is the greatest country in the world. We are still far from it, but that's where we are heading. And if you look at our national emblem, you will find the eagle perched up there. It is a dream. You are capturing it here through the special eagles. And as I said, by the special grace of God, the universe is hearing us. We shall accomplish it. I bless the jerseys. And I bless that brand called the Eagles, that people must just support and patronize. And, it just makes sense. We have players we need somebody to support each one of them so that they can really fly and fly high.
Raise an Eagle is a project that we want to use to diversify means of supporting sports challenged athletes. So we want a station where you buy some of these jerseys. Once you buy, actually you are supporting them. Once you buy one, you're raising an eagle. Then if God bless you so much, you can also raise an eagle with any token you want, with any token you have, so that we can be able to give them a better life and standard of living. Our special eagles are ever ready. We've been there, we've conquered Africa, and we're going all out also to conquer Africa. Though the African amputee football of today is not like that of yesteryears, but the truth is we are resilient. We've done everything possible in terms of preparation, and we are promising Nigerians we are going to make Nigeria proud.
2019 at the Nations Cup, they finished second, losing 2-0 to the host, which is Angola. So this time around, they're going to Egypt to see what they can do right there. Staying on football, but right now we're going to England, of course, is getting down. Their title race, of course, going to go down to the last day. Man City got 3 games, Arsenal got 2, but they're going to be facing Manchester United first this weekend on Sunday. I'll just run through the fixtures for this weekend, starting with what Manchester City will be doing on Saturday. That's the early kickoff at Fulham, and Bournemouth will be up against Brentford. Everton and Sheffield United, Newcastle and Brighton, and Tottenham and Burnley are the games that will get underway at the weekend. Now let's go to the other games that will be happening this weekend. West Ham will be at Luton Town, Wolverhampton and Crystal Palace, Nottingham Forest and Chelsea, and of course the big one, the late kickoff on Sunday. That's what you're going to be having this one. It's a Super Sunday, but from what happened against Crystal Palace on, what was it, on Monday, right? Yeah. 4-0. Injuries, yes, we understand that. But before we talk about the Super Sunday, which is the Manchester City and Arsenal, which is going to also decide if Arsenal can actually give a run for Manchester City the title. Let's talk about Manchester City themselves, because Pep Guardiola has been talking about his players. The fact that they're going to Fulham 20 games unbeaten. Yeah, but let's listen to Pep Guardiola, and of course Austin and Kwame will jump in on the Premier League for this weekend.
Excellent football, and last season really well, and his patterns, defensively, offensively, are really, really good. I admire him a lot with the job has done, not just in Fulham. I mean, Watford was really well, with some problems in Everton, but in Fulham, his impact is that they didn't met one player, one manager, one team. When they start to play, they are not focused to win the game. Never ever in my life. And I wouldn't saw it. So they play again in front of his fans. They came to perform well, and they would do everything to beat us, like we're going to do everything to beat them. So.
All right, time to talk about Arsenal and Manchester United. We're taking that out of the way. If they win, they'll go top temporarily. And should Arsenal win, of course, they'll go back to the top. Austin, we'll start off with you. I mean, this is going to be at Old Trafford. I think they've not had a good record at Old Trafford, talking about Arsenal, since 2006. I mean, that terrible record, they won just once since 2006. But the United we have now, they're really terrible at Old Trafford.
It's a different season. You know, this season, Arsenal, they've shown that, yes, they can do something. Let's also commend the consistency that the Gunners showed. They competed they were in contention for the title last season, and now they've also shown that they can compete for the title. This is a big test against Manchester United, but we know this United team, they're deflated, but somehow when they see Arsenal, they know how to just jump up. So today I was talking to some football enthusiasts, and I said that it's a case of, can Fulham do Arsenal a favor, because they're a London-based club, and can Manchester United do Man City a favor because they're a Manchester-based team, you know? So it's going to be interesting. Fulham, they've also shown that if they want to play on a good day, they can, cause upsets. They defeated Manchester United. Remember Alex Iwobi and Calvin Bassey with those, 2 goals for Fulham at the Craven Cottage when they played Manchester United. Against Manchester City, they'll try to see what they can do. It's going to be a very difficult game. Pep just said that too, but that they are not going to, underrate them in any way. They want to get the points, put pressure on Arsenal, because they know Manchester United isn't that sort of team that they used to be, back in the day. But hey, this is football where anything can happen. I always go back to that Aston Villa game. Arsenal had no business losing that game, and they lost it, and that's why we are where we are. Mikel Arteta, he's been chilled these days because he likes the output from his team. He's been reacting to that Super Sunday match against Manchester United.
Right now we're talking. We are lived in the Premier League. That's what my brain is doing at the moment. So I just follow my brain and my gut, and this is how I feel. And this is as well the way that I want everybody to think. And hopefully we can achieve it. It leaves you a very clear situation that you have to focus and be determined to do what you have to do to be in the best possible position. That's very simple and clear, and that's what we are doing. Every game has a different context. We know the difficulty is in our history when you look at what we've done over there, so we're going to have to be at our best to earn the right to win the game.
Yeah, so I wanted you guys to listen to him. I don't want to mention anything about his brain taking him to Arsenal lifting the trophy. But do you think he's putting pressure on himself and his team?
I don't think so. There's a lot of twists and turns to this race. And let me add to what Austin said in respect to maybe Fulham being a London team. In fact, all of the 3 teams left for Man City to play this season are all London teams. They go to the new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium to play Spurs. They will host West Ham at the Etihad Stadium, their last game of the season. And of course, they play Fulham at Craven Cottage. All of those are London teams. Now, would Manchester United also do their city rival, which is Manchester City, any favor by allowing Arsenal to beat them? If you ask any Tottenham Hotspur fan today, they will tell you that they would rather prefer to finish 17th on the table than help Arsenal to win a league title by defeating Manchester City. And it just brings a whole lot of things. And you can't blame Arteta for putting that in his mind. He's measured his growth since he moved over to Arsenal from 8th position to finishing the league, 1 point adrift of Tottenham Hotspur in 5th. The following season, he came 2nd. He was top of the law for over 200 days last season. This season as well, the end of the 2023 didn't go down well. They lost to Fulham, lost to West Ham, but they started the 2024 like the house on fire. They were beating teams, Crystal Palace, West Ham, 6-0, 5-0. But the game against Aston Villa, they will sit back and say, hey, this is probably the game that will cost us the season. Well, maybe you want to blame the players. They had the return leg against Bayern Munich somewhere in their mind, but they were really lackadaisical in the game against Aston Villa. But they bounced back after that. But it's going to be tough. They play Everton in their last game at the Emirates Stadium, and Everton had already secured a survivor for the Premier League ahead of next season. So you may always think that maybe there's nothing really in that one for Everton to fight for. But Man City plays early kickoff tomorrow. Arsenal plays late on Sunday. If Man City drop point at Craven Cottage, it put a lot of pressure on Arsenal. If Man City wins at Craven Cottage, it put a lot of pressure on Arsenal. So I'm really excited about how this season is going to end. And it's going to be very interesting. If Man City drops point tomorrow and Arsenal wins Manchester United at Old Trafford, the league is done, because there's no way Arsenal is not going to beat Everton at the Emirates Stadium, Cecilia. It's just so much to look out for.
Okay, let's see what's going to happen. What's going to happen at Old Trafford? I mean, at Emirates, it was 3-1. Let's listen to Ten Hag. He's complaining about the fact they have to use 13 different partnerships at centre-backs. And, of course, with the numbers of injury worries, where the owners will need common sense to actually retain him for next season.
We always go in a game to win and not preparing for next game. And, of course, it is in my back head. But we want to put out a team what is competitive for Sunday, a team what is eager to win, and we choose the best team for Sunday to win that game. One of the best teams, or probably the best team. You can discuss about this. Is City the best team, or is Arsenal at this moment the best team? Very ball secure. So very good structures. We have to play to absolutely our maximum levels to get a result in, but we are capable of it.
13 defeats this season. That's a record. Austin, we got to go.
We got to go, but definitely we're going to have a good game of football on Sunday. And I think Tottenham will take a chance to finish this season on the high so they can go to Europe. So all of the talks about they would rather get relegated than do Arsenal a favor, it doesn't work these days, because football is all business. That's the show. In London, I'm Austin O'Connor. And in everything you do, remember, keep talking sports. Bye for now.
Remy, it was nice doing this with you too.
Yeah, thank you, Cecilia. Thank you for having me again.
Thank you so much for watching. I'm Cecilia Omongbe. Have a good night, right?